Now, LSU at Ole Miss, okay? For the Tigers, this would mean taking care of business, okay? Because they view themselves now after getting to the SEC, championship game last year, winning the West, taking down Alabama. They view themselves as a top-tier team. They have a top-tier team, when it comes to offensive weapons, to quarterback play, that Logan Diggs is playing really good at running back. The secondary has been straight hot dog water, as I said earlier. They've been awful, okay, on the defensive side of the ball in terms of that secondary. I know they brought in a lot of transfers. I know that they're piecing things together over there on that end, but it is atrocious and is going to prevent them from playing at an elite level in terms of closing out games if they cannot do this. Now, another thing you need to know about this LSU secondary and about the passing defense is they are 82nd in the country, allowing 251 pass yards per game. And guess whose passing game, even with Trey Harris having missed time, Caden Prescorn having missed time, no Michael Trigg now on the team anymore. He's been dismissed, and he's missed the last couple of games. Zachary Franklin is just now getting back. So they've had a lot of guys missing time. But even with all that, guess who has the most yards per completion in the country? So is one of the most explosive passing attacks in the country. That would be the Ole Miss Rebels. That is a bad recipe if you were LSU secondary. But winning this game would just mean that LSU is taking care of business. Okay, that's what it would mean. It would mean that, hey, they're getting closer to being that elite level team. Okay, we know that they're elite as a program, what they've done in the past, but a team year in and year out, what their standard is since 2019. You look, it was up here, and then it's just fallen off. And then Ed Orgeron had his slip off for another couple years. Now Brian Kelly comes, boom, first year SEC championship bound. Now, can you follow that? Okay, the true measure of greatness is consistency, as a head coach once told me. So can LSU be consistent and win a game in which they are more talented along both of the lines of scrimmage? But that secondary is a glaring weakness. So LSU, to win this, they are going to have to get pressure on Jackson Dart. They're going to have to get home on sacks and not let him have time to let things develop down the field. Ole Miss, this would mean that, hey, Lane Kiffin finally got a team up for a big game to win, especially at home. Okay, that Lane Kiffin was able to take down a top-tier team in college football. Lane Kiffin doesn't have what you would call just a stamped signature win on his resume as a head coach. I can't think of one that's a monumental win. He's had some good teams that have ended up winning, accumulating a lot of wins, but not against just an elite football team. And this is an opportunity for them to do so. Quinshad Judkins came out this week and said, hey, LSU's front is bigger and stronger and more physical than Alabama's. Well, that doesn't bode well for you, since Alabama's ate your lunch over there and y'all only had 56 yards rushing on the day. Okay, so Ole Miss, can you be more physical up front? Can you get this running game going? Ole Miss has had one run of 20 yards or more this season, and it didn't come from Quinshad Judkins, okay? They've got to find a way to get him going. I know he's dealing with some health issues right now, but my goodness, when Ole Miss is at its best, it's when they're explosive in the run game. They're playing with tempo. They've got to be able to do that. Now, one thing that is interesting, okay, Trey Harris had surgery to clean up his knee after the Tulane game. He came back for the Alabama game, maybe even a little sooner than he should have. Caden Prescorn came back from surgery to take on Alabama. Zachary Franklin, his first game off of surgery. All those guys were working their way in. It is possible when you're trying to work guys into an offense, trying to get some weapons going, that things could look bad in that first game, and they did, especially against a elite defense there in Alabama. But LSU's defense has not been elite this year, particularly in the secondary, okay? And now those guys have a game under their belt, so do they look a little bit better? But this would just mean that, hey, Ole Miss is taking that next step as a program. They're finally able to beat an elite team, okay, and beat a team that probably has a little bit more talent than them. So that would say something about the coaching staff, Lane Kiffin, Pete Golden, all those guys over there at Ole Miss. And like I said, for LSU, this would just mean taking care of business, really saying, okay, we are that elite team that we believe we are, and, can move forward in that way.